My daughter took out a $750,000 loan in my name for an apartment, but I surprised her on the day of. The letter from Wells Fargo arrived on a Tuesday morning. I remember because Tuesday was my walk day with Vivian, and I was pouring my second cup of coffee when I saw the envelope sitting in my mail slot. It had that official weight to it, you know? The kind that makes your stomach drop even before you open it. Dear Eleanor Chen, it read. This is to confirm your home equity loan approval in the amount of $750,000. I had to read it 3 times. My hands started shaking so badly I had to set down my coffee cup. $750,000. $750,000. In my name. For a property on Riverside Drive that I'd never even heard of. I called the bank immediately. The woman on the phone was polite but firm. Yes, the loan had been approved 2 weeks ago. Yes, all the documentation was in order. My signature, my tax returns, my social security number. Everything checked out. But I never applied for any loan, I told her, my voice cracking. There was a pause. Ma'am, do you have any family members who might have access to your personal documents? That's when I knew. That's when everything clicked into place. All those times Brittany had asked to help organize my important papers. All those documents she'd insisted I sign for your estate planning, Mom. The way she'd been so helpful after her father died, so attentive, so concerned about my finances. I hung up and sat at my kitchen table, the table where I'd fed her breakfast every morning for 18 years, and I felt something inside me break and then harden all at once. When Brittany showed up that evening, she still had a key, of course. I was waiting for her in the living room. The loan documents were spread out on the coffee table like evidence at a crime scene. She froze in the doorway when she saw them. Just for a second, but I caught it. Then she recovered, that bright smile sliding onto her face like a mask. Mom, I was going to tell you. You took out a loan in my name, I said quietly. My voice didn't sound like mine. It sounded like someone older, harder. For $750,000. It's not what you think. Then what is it, Brittany? Because the bank says I'm on the hook for $750,000, plus interest, for an apartment I've never seen. She sat down across from me, and that's when Trevor walked in behind her. That man. 6 months she'd been dating him, and every time I saw him, I got a feeling in my gut like spoiled milk. He wore expensive suits and talked about investment opportunities and asset leveraging, and he'd been filling my daughter's head with poison since the day they met. Mrs. Chen, he said, smooth as butter. I know this looks bad, but this is actually a brilliant investment opportunity. Get out of my house, I said. Brittany's face changed then. The mask dropped away, and what was underneath was something I'd never seen before. Cold, calculating, mean. You want to know the truth, Mom? She leaned forward. You're sitting on a gold mine and wasting it. This house is worth over $1 million. You've got $400,000 in savings and Dad's life insurance. And what are you doing with it? Walking in the park with your old lady friends and watching game shows? That money was supposed to be for my retirement, for emergencies. You're 68 years old. When are you going to use it? When you're dead? She laughed, actually laughed. Trevor and I found an amazing investment property. The apartment on Riverside is going to triple in value in 5 years. We're securing our future. By destroying mine? Trevor put his hand on Brittany's shoulder. Look, the loan is done. The apartment is purchased. You might as well accept it and maybe we can work out some kind of payment arrangement. A payment arrangement? I'm 68 years old on a fixed income. Well, Brittany said, standing up. That's your problem now, isn't it? You should have been smarter with your money. Should have invested in us when we asked nicely. Now we had to take matters into our own hands. She walked toward the door, Trevor following. At the threshold, she turned back. Oh, and Mom? Trevor and I are getting married next month. We'll be living in the new apartment. Maybe don't call asking for money, okay? We're going to be too busy building our real life to deal with your drama." The door closed. I sat there in the silence of the house I'd lived in for 42 years, the house where I'd raised her, nursed her through fevers, celebrated every birthday, every achievement, where I'd held her when her father died and promised her everything would be okay. And I smiled. Because what they didn't know was that I had already been planning. They didn't know that this 68-year-old woman had one more card to play. They didn't know that I had been documenting everything. And they certainly didn't know about the conversation I'd had with my lawyer just that morning, before the loan letter even arrived. They were about to learn a very expensive lesson. But let me back up. Let me tell you how I got here, to this moment, sitting in my living room with a heart full of hurt and a head full of strategy. 3 months earlier, everything had seemed normal. Well, as normal as life gets when you're a widow trying to figure out who you are without your partner of 45 years. I woke up at 6:30 every morning, just like always. Made my coffee, 2 cups, exactly how Harold used to make it, even though he'd been gone a year. Fed Mrs. Whiskers, the cat Brittany had given me for company, after the funeral. Took my morning walk around Riverside Park at 7 o'clock sharp. That's where I'd meet Vivian, Dorothy, and sometimes Grace if her arthritis wasn't acting up. We'd been walking together for 15 years. You get to know people pretty well when you're tramping around a park 3 times a week, watching the seasons change and your own bodies slow down a bit. "How's Brittany?" Vivian asked one morning in July. We were sitting on our usual bench, watching the joggers go by. "Busy," I said. "She's got this new boyfriend, Trevor, some kind of real estate developer." Vivian made a face. She'd been my friend long enough to have opinions about my daughter. "The one who drives that fancy car. BMW, brand new." I sipped my water. "I don't know, Viv. Something about him rubs me wrong." "Trust your gut," Dorothy chimed in. She was older than us, 74, and sharp as a tack. "I didn't trust my son-in-law from day one. Turned out he was cheating on my Alice with his secretary. Cliché, right? But your gut knows." I thought about that a lot over the next few weeks. My gut. Harold used to say I had radar for trouble, that I could sense when something was off. Maybe I'd been ignoring it, wanting to believe that Brittany had finally found someone who made her happy. She'd always been my difficult child. That sounds terrible to say, doesn't it? But it's true. Even as a little girl, she'd wanted more than we could give her. More toys, more attention, more everything. Harold and I both worked. I was a teacher for 35 years. He was an accountant. But we weren't rich. We were comfortable. We saved. We planned. After Harold died, Brittany became different. More attentive, but in a way that felt wrong. She'd come over twice a week with groceries I didn't need. She'd insist on helping with my finances, even though I'd been managing money just fine for decades. "Mom, you really should consolidate these accounts," she'd say, looking at my bank statements. "And have you updated your will since Dad died?" "It's on my list," I'd tell her. "Let me help. Trevor knows a great estate lawyer. We could get everything organized." That should have been my first warning sign. But I was lonely. Grief does funny things to you, makes you grateful for any attention, even when that attention has teeth. Architected narrative escalation with documentation, support network, and confrontation, leading to revenge. I need to continue building the story, showing the gradual escalation and Eleanor's growing awareness. I should include more specific incidents of manipulation. Eleanor's documentation and preparation. Her supportive friends helping her see the truth. The WhatsApp group. More details about her daily life and memories. Building to the confrontation. Then the revenge justice portion. I'm at about 1,400 words, need to get to at least 4,000 words. In August, Brittany asked me to sign some papers. "What are these?" I asked, looking at the stack of documents she'd spread out on my dining room table. Just updating your power of attorney and medical directives. You know, making sure everything's current. Trevor says it's really important, especially at your age. At your age. Like I was ancient. Like I was incompetent. I'll have my lawyer look at them first, I said. Her smile tightened. Mom, that's going to cost you money. I'm trying to help you save money. I'm sure he won't charge much for a quick review. She gathered up the papers, irritated. Fine, but you're wasting money you don't need to waste. After she left, I sat down with my laptop. Yes, this old lady knows how to use a computer, thank you very much. And I started Googling. Adult children, financial abuse, elderly parents. The results made my blood run cold. There were thousands of stories, millions of dollars stolen every year, children forging signatures, taking out loans, emptying accounts, and most of it from parents who trusted them completely. I called Robert Harrison, my lawyer. We'd gone to the same church for 20 years, and he'd handled Harold's estate. Robert, I need you to review some documents Brittany wants me to sign, and I need you to pull my credit report. All 3 bureaus. Eleanor, is everything okay? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. My credit report arrived 3 days later. It was clean, no new accounts, no suspicious activity. I felt guilty for even checking. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe grief was making me suspicious of my own daughter. But I kept the credit report in a folder. And I started keeping a journal, writing down every conversation, every visit, every request for information or signatures. That's when Vivian invited me to join their WhatsApp group. Senior Squad, they called it. Dorothy, Grace, Vivian, and about 8 other women from our walking group and the senior center. I was terrible at first, kept accidentally sending messages to the wrong people. But once I got the hang of it, it became a lifeline. We'd share recipes, photos of grandkids, complaints about aching joints, and increasingly, warnings about scams and financial exploitation. One morning in September, Vivian shared an article, How Adult Children Commit Identity Theft Against Elderly Parents. I read it 3 times. That afternoon, I went to the bank and put a freeze on my credit. The banker, a young woman named Sarah, was very helpful. It's smart to be proactive, she said, especially if you're worried about identity theft. Can someone unfreeze it without my permission? I asked. No. Only you can unfreeze it, and only with a PIN that we'll give you. Keep it somewhere safe. I put the PIN in my safety deposit box, the one Brittany didn't know about. The next time Brittany came over, she had Trevor with her. Mom, we need to talk about your financial situation, Brittany said, settling onto my couch like she owned the place. Trevor's been looking into investment opportunities for you, ways to make your money work harder. My money is working just fine, I said. It's in safe, insured accounts. Trevor leaned forward, doing that thing where he tried to seem trustworthy. Mrs. Chen, with all due respect, you're losing money to inflation. We're talking about your legacy here, about what you'll leave to Brittany. Wouldn't you want her to inherit the maximum amount? What I want is to make sure I have enough for my own retirement. But that's the beauty of it, he continued. We invest now, the money grows, and you still have access to it. Plus, when the time comes, and I'm not saying that's anytime soon, Brittany inherits significantly more. When the time comes, like they were waiting for me to die. I'm not interested, I said firmly. Brittany's face went red. Mom, you're being stubborn and stupid. We're trying to help you, and you're acting like we're criminals or something. I didn't say that. You might as well have. You won't sign the papers I bring you. You won't let Trevor help with investments. You put a freeze on your credit. Yes, I found out about that. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Like you don't trust your own daughter? How did you find out about my credit freeze? I asked quietly. She faltered. I was just trying to help you with something and ran into issues. Help me with what? Nothing. Forget it. She stood up. "Come on, Trevor. Some people can't be helped." After they left, I called Robert Harrison again. "I need you to review my will," I said, "and I need to know about elder financial abuse. What to document, what to watch for, how to protect myself." "Eleanor, are you in danger?" "I'm in something," I said. "I just don't know what yet." That's when Robert told me about Patricia, a social worker who specialized in elder abuse cases. I met with her the following week at her office downtown. Patricia was maybe 45, with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. I told her everything. The papers Brittany wanted me to sign, the credit freeze, the pressure about investments, the way she'd been asking about my accounts. "You did the right thing with the credit freeze," Patricia said. "That's crucial. Now, I want you to start documenting everything. Every conversation, every request, every interaction. Dates, times, witnesses if possible. Take screenshots of text messages. Save emails. If she asks you to sign anything, take a picture of it before you say no. You think she's going to do something? I think you're smart to be prepared. The fact that she's already tried to access your credit without permission is a red flag." I started carrying a small notebook everywhere. I documented Brittany's visits, her phone calls, the increasingly aggressive requests for financial information. I backed up text messages to my computer. Yes, Vivian's grandson taught me how to do that. In October, Brittany asked for a small loan. "Just $50,000, Mom. Trevor found this incredible investment property, but we need cash for the down payment. We'll pay you back with interest in 6 months." "I don't have that kind of liquid cash," I lied. "I had over $400,000 in savings and CDs." "Yes, you do." "I've seen your statements." "When have you seen my statements?" "When I was helping you organize last year." "Mom, please. This is my future we're talking about. Don't you want me to be successful? If this investment is so good, why don't you go to a bank?" "Banks are too slow. We need to move fast on this." "Then the answer is no." She stormed out. Didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. In the old days, that silence would have devastated me. But now, with my group chat buzzing with support from my friends, with my documentation growing, I felt strangely calm. Dorothy sent a message. "Standing firm is not the same as being cruel. You're protecting yourself. Grace." My son didn't speak to me for a month when I wouldn't co-sign his boat loan. Best decision I ever made. Vivian. "Coffee tomorrow?" My treat. In November, I found out Brittany had tried to take out a credit card in my name. The credit freeze stopped it, but I got a notification. I documented it, took screenshots, sent them to Patricia. "This is escalating," Patricia said. "Have you considered a restraining order?" "She's my daughter," I said. But even as I said it, I wondered who I was protecting, her or the memory of the little girl she used to be. That's when things got serious. Early December, I got a call from Robert Harrison. "Eleanor, I need you to come to my office right away. Don't tell Brittany. Don't tell anyone." My hands went cold. "What is it?" "Just come. Please." In his office, Robert showed me documents. Official-looking documents with my signature. Except it wasn't quite my signature. Close, but not quite right. Applications for loans, changes to beneficiary designations. A quitclaim deed attempting to transfer my house to Brittany. "None of these were filed because your credit was frozen," Robert said. "But she tried. Eleanor, your daughter tried to steal your house." I sat there, staring at my forged signature, and something inside me finally broke free from the prison of motherly love and obligation. "What do I do?" I asked. "We document everything. We prepare for the worst. And we make sure that when, not if, but when, she tries again, we're ready." Robert introduced me to Sandra Kim, a criminal lawyer who specialized in financial fraud. Sandra was terrifying in the best way. Late 30s, sharp suits, sharper mind. Here's what's going to happen, Sandra said. She's going to try again. Probably something bigger this time because the small plays aren't working. When she does, we're going to be ready with evidence of a pattern of attempted fraud. But Eleanor, you need to be prepared. This will likely mean criminal charges against your daughter. Can't I just get the money back if she takes it? Once money is gone, it's incredibly hard to recover, especially if it's spent on property or investments. Your best bet is prevention and prosecution. I started having nightmares. Dreams where Brittany was 5 years old again, holding my hand, asking me to read her one more story. Then I'd wake up and remember the forged signatures, the attempted theft, the cold way she looked at me now. Christmas came and went. Brittany didn't call, didn't visit. I spent it with Vivian and her family, and it was nice, but there was a hole where my daughter should have been. On New Year's Eve, I made a resolution. If Brittany tried again, when she tried again, I wouldn't protect her anymore. I would protect myself. The loan letter arrived on January 14th, $750,000. Already approved, already spent. My house, my savings, my future, all of it leveraged against a property I'd never seen, for a daughter who saw me as nothing more than a bank account with a heartbeat. But this time, I was ready. After the confrontation that night, after Brittany and Trevor walked out laughing, I made 3 phone calls. First to Robert. She did it. The loan went through. I need you to file the criminal complaint tonight. Second to Sandra. We have her. Everything's documented. I want to press charges. Third to Patricia. Can you help me make this public? I want other parents to know what to watch for. Then I sat down at my computer, and I wrote out everything that had happened, every detail, every conversation, every forged signature. I posted it on Facebook. I sent it to the local news. I shared it in our senior squad WhatsApp group, and they shared it with their groups. By morning, my story had been shared 50,000 times. The local news wanted an interview. A national news program called. But the real surprise came at 9 a.m. on January 15th, when the police knocked on Brittany's door, her old apartment, the one she'd rented before stealing $750,000 from me. They arrested her for identity theft, fraud, and forgery. Trevor, too, as an accomplice. The loan, as it turned out, wasn't valid, because I hadn't signed for it, and Sandra proved it with a handwriting expert. The signatures were close, but forensic analysis showed they were forgeries. The bank was liable for their failure to verify. The apartment purchase was reversed. Brittany and Trevor were facing 5 to 10 years. But here's the thing. Nobody tells you about justice. It doesn't feel as good as you think it will. I sat in the courtroom during her arraignment, watching my daughter in an orange jumpsuit, and part of me still wanted to run to her, to fix it, to make it all okay. That's what mothers do, right? We fix things. But Vivian sat beside me, holding my hand. You're teaching her something she should have learned long ago, she whispered. That actions have consequences. That stealing from your mother who sacrificed everything for you is not okay. You're doing the right thing. The case became bigger than I expected. The news coverage led to dozens of other elderly parents coming forward with similar stories. Adult children who'd stolen from them, forged signatures, empty bank accounts. And because I'd documented everything, because I'd been prepared, I became a resource. Patricia and I started doing workshops at senior centers, teaching other elderly people how to protect themselves. The Senior Squad WhatsApp group became a resource center. We shared tips, warning signs, legal resources. Dorothy's son, the one who'd been pressuring her for money, backed off completely when she showed him the articles about Brittany's arrest. I don't want to end up like that, he said. First smart thing he'd said in years. The criminal trial took 8 months. During that time, Brittany tried to reach out once. A letter passed through her lawyer asking me to drop the charges. I'm sorry, she wrote. I was under Trevor's influence. I wasn't thinking clearly. You're my mother. How can you do this to me? I wrote back with Sandra's approval. Brittany, I loved you from the moment you were born. I sacrificed everything to give you a good life. I worked 2 jobs to pay for your college. I was there for every triumph and every failure. When your father died, I grieved alone because I was too busy making sure you were okay. And you repaid me by forging my signature, stealing my identity, and trying to take everything I had worked for. I'm not doing this to you. You did this to yourself. I'm just making sure you face the consequences. Maybe in prison, you'll learn what I tried to teach you your whole life. That other people's lives matter. That your mother is a human being, not an ATM machine. I hope you find yourself in there, because you certainly lost yourself somewhere along the way. I will always be your mother, but I will never be your victim again. The trial ended in September. Guilty on all counts. Brittany got 4 years. Trevor got 6. He had prior offenses I didn't know about. The judge, a woman in her 60s, looked at Brittany during sentencing and said something I'll never forget. You had a mother who loved you, who trusted you, who would have given you anything if you'd just asked honestly. Instead, you tried to steal not just her money, but her dignity, her security, her golden years. There are few betrayals more complete than what you did. I hope you spend these 4 years thinking about what you lost, not in money, but in love. Now, I'm sitting in my living room, the living room Brittany tried to steal from me, drinking my morning coffee and watching Mrs. Whiskers chase a dust mote in the sunlight. I'm 69 years old now, a year older, a lot wiser, and surprisingly at peace. The bank settled with me. I got a modest sum for their failure to properly verify the loan documents. I used it to set up a foundation, the Eleanor Chen Foundation for Elder Financial Protection. We provide free legal consultations and workshops. My WhatsApp group now has 200 members in the Lagos area alone. We share our stories, support each other, and make sure no one faces these situations alone. Do I miss Brittany? Every single day. But I miss the daughter I thought I had, not the woman she became. Maybe prison will change her, maybe it won't. But I can't save her from herself. I can only save myself and try to help others do the same. Last week, I got an email from a woman in Arizona. Her daughter had been pressuring her to sign over her house. The woman remembered my story from the news, documented everything, and stopped the fraud before it happened. She thanked me for being brave enough to go public. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. This wasn't just about me and Brittany anymore. It was about every elderly parent who's ever been made to feel like a burden, like their life savings is owed to ungrateful children, like they should just hand over everything and be grateful for whatever scraps of attention they get in return. We are not ATMs. We are not burdens. We are human beings who worked our entire lives, raised our children, and deserve to age with dignity and security. So, would you have forgiven them? Or would you have stood your ground like I did? Sometimes I wonder if younger people understand what it's like to be treated as invisible in your own family. To have your decades of sacrifice dismissed as if they meant nothing. To watch the child you loved more than life itself look at you and see only dollar signs. I hope you never have to find out. But if you do, I hope you remember my story. Document everything. Freeze your credit. Trust your gut. Protect yourself. Because at 69 years old, I learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and for them, is to let them face the consequences of their actions. And you know what? I sleep better now than I have in years.